Here's the thing, every time I make one of these lists about best value for money watches under a certain price category, you guys always suggest Christopher Ward in the comment section below. I couldn't include one of these watches because I never reviewed one. That is until today. In today's video, I'm happy to say I finally get a chance to review Christopher Ward C60 Atoll 300 diver watch. I'm going to point out all the positives and all the negatives as I find them. As always, let's begin by talking about the case. This watch comes in a 40mm case diameter. It has 47.5mm from one lug to another. The lug width is 20mm and it's only 11.5mm thick. The case construction is stainless steel. It is all satin finish except for a few high polish accents. I really like how these chamfered edges are executed. A lot of watch companies are doing chamfered edges, but the way Christopher Ward did it is special. Take a look at the chamfered edge by the crown. You can see that it turns into the high polish on top of the lugs. It's a seamless transition. It also has an effect of making the watch appear slimmer. Overall, the execution on the finishes is excellent. It's even better than what you would expect for a watch around $1,000. When I hold this watch in my hand, it feels solid, well put together. It doesn't feel cheap. You know what I mean? Sometimes you hold a watch in your hand and you can kind of right away tell that some corners were cut. Not the case with this one. The crown is at the 3 o'clock position. It's a screw down crown signed with Christopher Ward logo. You also have a screw down case back. It's a display case back with a sapphire crystal. And of course, what type of diver watch would this be without a diver style bezel? This one is 120 click, unidirectional. It has a stainless steel bezel insert. It features a sandblasted finish with raised high polish indexes. You have Arabic numerals for 5, 10, 15, and so on. Then you have a triangle at the 0 o'clock position with a loom pip. The bezel action is very smooth. It's pleasant to turn. However, it's a bit too loose for my liking. You can see that you can almost turn it back half a click. And even though it's not awful, it could be tightened up. Slightly raised over this bezel is a boxed flat sapphire crystal with some AR coating. I also like the stainless steel ring between the bezel and the crystal. It gives this watch almost that utilitarian look. As far as the comfort on the wrist, this watch is excellent. 40mm is a very comfortable size for diver watches. And I'd say this watch wears a little bit more comfortable than most 40mm watches because of its slim profile. Under 12mm on the wrist for a diver is excellent. It disappears under any cuff except for the clasp. The clasp is a little bit bulky, but we're going to talk about that later. So the clasp kind of doesn't really ruin, but holds back the comfort. But other than the clasp, the watch itself is very comfortable. You probably noticed that the first link is sticking out. It's a male first link, but I'm happy to say it doesn't make the watch wear bulky. It doesn't really add too much to the overall length. So let's say from the 47.5mm from lug to lug, it takes it to close to 49, almost 50mm, which is not too bad. It should still feel comfortable on majority of the wrists. And because of the case construction pointing downwards, the watch hugs the wrist pretty well. You can choose this watch on a rubber strap or a stainless steel bracelet. I'd go for the stainless steel bracelet. The bracelet is excellent. First of all, it's executed with a satin finish. There are no high polished accents anywhere on the bracelet or the clasp. It's all satin, which I think adds to this sort of utilitarian look of the watch. You resize the bracelet using screwdriver, which is a nice touch. I hate these pin and collar systems. You also have a quick release system, which is a nice quality of life improvement. Another quality of life improvement is this quick resizing mechanism that you find on the clasp. Now this mechanism, even though it is very useful and I'm glad that it exists, it's a little bit clunky. I've seen the same mechanism on cheaper watches. And in this watch, it's not too bad, but it's definitely not as refined as the rest of the watch. And that actually goes for the clasp overall. If you look at the size of this clasp, it's almost as big and as thick as the watch head itself. In my opinion, the clasp is just a little bit too large for this watch. It's not a major negative, and I'd still prefer this watch on the stainless steel bracelet over a rubber strap, but it does have to be mentioned. I wish this clasp was a little bit smaller. On the positive sides, I really love how this bracelet fits into the case. The fit is airtight, there are no awkward gaps, it feels very quality. When Christopher Ward reached out to me, they offered to send any of their diver watches in for review. I had my pick, and I picked this Atoll Reef Blue. This specific model is available in two different dial combinations. There is this silver sort of sterile dial, and then there is this Reef Blue, more playful, colorful dial with this gradient, and it's a great watch for summer. Unfortunately, right now we're heading into the fall, so I have to wait until next year to really wear this watch to the lake, to the beach, etc. As far as the hardware on the dial, we see applied indexes. They actually have a two finish execution. There are some high polish finishes and there are some brushed finishes. The same goes for this set of hands. It's an arrow, hour hand, and a sword, minutes hand, and both hands feature high polish finish as well as brushed finish. The second hand has this little arrow at the tip of it, and it reaches out all the way to the chapter ring. The little details is what separates a good watch from a great one. There's also this trident counterbalance. I feel okay about it. It's not my favorite feature. It's not the worst feature. It's just there. Doesn't really do much for me, but I know a lot of people like these little detail choices. There is a Christopher Ward logo closer to the 12 o'clock position. A lot of people are glad that they switched their logo from the 9 o'clock position to the 12 o'clock position. It gives the dial more symmetry. Another element of the dial that gives it more symmetry is having a date window at the 6 o'clock position. This one is integrated very nicely. Even the background color of the date wheel matches the color of the dial. Again, attention to details with this watch is great. Any good diver watch needs to have solid lume. This one, of course, has that. Here's a lume shot for your reference. As you can see, plenty of lume. The application is nice and even. There are no imbalances. You probably noticed that little writing at the bottom where it says Swiss made, because this watch features a Swiss made movement. It's powered by the Sellita SW200-1. It's a high beat movement beating at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It has 26 joules and 38 hours of power reserve. Christopher Ward have created their own custom rotor. It has Christopher Ward written across. It also has a laser etching of their logo. I like how it plays with the light. Overall, after experiencing my first Christopher Ward in person, I can see why there are so many fans of this brand. It is not easy to create a watch for $1,000 that packs so much value in a package. It's slim, it has enough water resistance, it has the quality, and it has the looks. Is it a perfect watch? No, as I mentioned, the bezel offers a little bit too much play, and the clasp is a little bit too large and bulky for the watch, at least in my opinion. I think if you were to pick up one of these watches to add to your collection, you wouldn't be disappointed. It does compete very well against other watches in the market, and it has a lot of advantages over the competition. I appreciate you watching this video all the way until the end. Give a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more videos like this, and leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about Christopher Ward watches. Do you have one in your collection? Do you want to add one? If so, which one? Let's get the conversation going. I love reading your comments. I love interacting with you guys. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.